everyone, this is Katie the Novel Stitcher. It is Monday, June 26th, and this is Flosstube 21. This is a channel where I talk all about the wonderful craft of cross-stitching and show off what I've stitched. And I also talk about books, and that always comes at the end of the video. So thank you so much if you're a returning viewer. I'm so happy to be here with you again. It's been about 2 weeks since my last video, and I have a lot to share with you, so I'm really excited to be spending some time with you. And if you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad you found my channel, and I hope you'll stick around. Please consider subscribing. If you're not already subscribed, that would mean so much to me. And make sure you like the video and please comment on the video. I love reading your comments each time I film. It's the highlight of filming for me, so please let me know how you are, how your summer's going, what you're stitching or drinking or eating while you watch this, and let's dive in. So, life update. Last week I was on vacation, so I was off for the week, and I went down to visit my parents in Delaware. They're by the shore. It wasn't the best weather, but I still had a good time. I let Alex stay around here, and I just went down by myself. On Monday, at least we got some nice weather. My mom and I went to the pool, and last Sunday was Father's Day, so we took my dad out to dinner, which was really nice. And then Tuesday we went to Salty Yarns, which is amazing, so I can't wait to share my haul. And we also went to Sea Needles, so 2 cross-stitch stores in one day was a lot of fun. And then Wednesday was absolutely disgusting. It was super rainy and it poured the entire day. We were gonna go to the beach or go to Annapolis or do something, and that didn't end up happening. But we just relaxed. I cross-stitched, read. My mom and I watched some Disney movies, so we just had a chill day, and then I headed back here on Thursday. And this past weekend, I got together with some friends on Saturday at Longwood Gardens. You'll probably have seen a few more snaps from Longwood at the beginning of this video. It once again poured half of the time we were there, so we hid under a tent, but that was with some bookish friends, people who like to read, who I know, and so we just traded books and talked about what we were reading, and luckily the sun did make a short appearance later in the afternoon, so we were able to walk around the gardens a little bit. And then yesterday was just kind of relaxing too. It's just been very unsettled here. It's supposed to storm today, so I logged off of work and got right to filming because I don't want to film during a thunderstorm. Might not be the best idea. So let's see if we can get this in before the storm starts. So let's dive in. So today I have one new start. I worked on about 6 whips. I have some good haul from the stitchy shops that I went to last week. A couple Flosstube recommendations, some plans, and I do have a good bit of bookish talk, which will come at the very end. So if you're not into books, you can move on once we get to that point. So let's start with my start. So just one little start, and this was in part to use some of the fabric I bought this past week. So I bought this 40 count anthracite. I think I'm pronouncing that right. It's just a nice dark gray from Zweigart, and I wanted just a nice medium gray because I didn't want anything too dark, and I have a lot of light gray, so I got a big chunk of 40 count of this. And I am stitching Sun Soaked by Liz Mathews. I'll put it here. This is, if you're part of her Patreon, this was her June pattern. She releases a free pattern every month if you're in her Patreon. So if you're interested in joining, you should check it out. I think it's a lot of fun, but I haven't actually stitched anything that she's released in her Patreon, so I figured I should do this one. I know Lauren, the New Hampshire Stitcher, is working on this one. I think Jessica Sweetwater Stitcher might be working on this one too. There's a few Flosstubers and other people who nab this one because it's really cute, and it's just a nice small summer stitch. So this is my progress so far. I will say that this 40 count is a bit tough to work on at night. I started it last night and realized that this needs to be a daylight project because the holes are really small and the fabric is a bit darker. So this will have to be done when it's light outside, but just a little bit of progress. It's gonna be really sweet. I am using my own conversion of DMC, mostly because I just didn't have all of the colors that Liz suggested. You'd think that you'd have every DMC after a while, and there's still ones that I'm missing. I have so many DMC, but I do not have every color. And so I use similar colors, the kind of a peachy or an orangey. I went a little bit more hers are like more pastel, and so mine are just a bit more regular versions of the colors, but mostly the same colorway, just slightly darker colors, and I really like how they pop on this fabric. I will say I bought this because I think gray is nice for just a different kind of neutral. I don't think I'll be stitching anything big on this though. I got a big chunk of it, thinking that I might, but it's just because it's kind of hard to see and needs to be stitched in the daylight. But I think it's perfect for smalls. It'll be great for like little small Halloween stitches, little ornaments. So it's really good to have that in my stash. So that is my start for this past 2 weeks. And then next we'll go into my WIPs. And so for WIPGO, June is almost over. I'm a little bit behind on my WIPGO, but I will make it happen. So Winter Rose Manor was called for June, and I needed to work on Winter Rose Manor for 8 hours, and I have put in 3.5 hours. So this will be a focus piece this week to get, the rest of those hours in before the end of the week. I'm sure you've all seen this one. It's beautiful. I really love stitching on it, so I'm glad that it was called. And I did say that's by Brenda Gervais, right? With Thy Needle and Thread. You probably already all knew that, but. And I am doing this on a 36 count new khaki linen, and I'm using the called for fancy floss. It is Weeks Dye Works, Classic Colorworks, I think a couple sampler threads. There's a bunch of different fancy floss, and that's my progress so far. So I will say with this lighting, unfortunately, the basket's not showing up too much. If I bring it closer, there we go. Because that's mostly what I worked on for those few hours that I worked on this. Basket shows up much better in person. It is roasted marshmallow, so it's a bit of like a pinky white, and right now it's not showing up great with the lighting, but you can see it. You can see it pretty well. And so I did a lot of the basket. I think I did this whole part of it. Here needed to be done, and then all of this white here. I'm not sure if I had the little bird done last time you saw this, so there's him. And then I finished these flowers and did this flower. So making progress, slow but steady, but still a bit more that I have to do with this one before the end of the month. So I'm thinking, I can't do math, 3.5 hours. I have about a little under 5 hours left on this. So I'm gonna finish up the basket, get that complete, make sure all the flowers are in there, and then probably get these little snowflake type little motifs all stitched up so that I have the whole top of this done, and then I'll work my way down. And then I'm not sure about the initials. So she has Brenda Gervais, obviously B and the G, and I'm thinking the A is maybe her middle name. I'm not sure her middle initial, but it works for me. I'm gonna do my initials right now are KMD. So that's what I'm gonna do for the initials. And actually when I get married in December, my initials will turn to KMM. And so if I do KMD, I'll have KM for my new initials when I get married and still have KMD for my maiden name there. I don't know. So that seems to work. So I'm assuming that the A is either maybe her maiden name or maybe her middle initial, unless Gervais is her maiden name, and then I don't know. So regardless, those will be the initials that I use, and I'm really enjoying stitching on this one, and excited that it was called for WIPGO, but after this month, I will probably put it away for another couple months and focus on something else, one of my other larger pieces. So, and hopefully the lighting's okay. It's gonna storm later. The sun it's bright, but it's cloudy. So it's a little bit of that kind of weather lately. And then the next one, so my other WIPGO call for June was to do 4 hours on Christmas, or 8 hours on Christmas, sorry, 8 hours on Christmas. So what I am doing is splitting it between 2 Christmas patterns. So I did do 4 hours on Christmas Delivery by Cottage Garden Samplings. This is so cute. I love that Santa. I wanted to get this one done this year, but I don't think that's gonna happen, but that's okay. It's really cute. It's gonna get really busy this fall with the wedding, so I don't know how much Christmas stitching I will be doing, but we'll see. So Christmas delivery, I am stitching on 32 count vintage Stormy Night with the called for DMC, and there's my progress. I can just fold this over. So it's coming along really well. Last time you saw it, so since you saw it, I don't really do before and afters. I don't know if you care so much. It's fine when other floss tubers do it. There's nothing wrong with doing that, but I can easily just tell you where I was last time, and most of the time I don't remember where people were in their last video from their current video, so it doesn't matter to me. But I guess if you do it before, it shows how much stitching you got done in that time. But I don't ever remember to take pictures of my stitching, so that's just one extra thing that I would have to do if I did it before and after. So regardless, last time you saw it, he was not done. So I finished the horse because it was weird to have the horse sitting up there without an eye and not fully finished stitching. So I got him done. I did the little candy cane next to him. That was fun to stitch. And then I worked on the present a little bit, though obviously I didn't bother to finish that, but that's what I have on that one so far. So I think that's coming along really well, and it's gonna be really cute when it is done. But it is pretty dense stitching. It's not too much color changes, like it's not too bad, but you know, it is full coverage in there. So I'll see how far I can get by the end of the year. I'll probably have more of a oomph to stitch on this as the weather gets cooler and we get closer to fall and get closer to the holidays. I do want to do some Christmas in July, but I don't know if I'll be stitching on that one for Christmas in July. There's another pattern I want to start as part of a sal, and I may just feel like picking something else small up and doing a new start for Christmas in July. So we'll see what I decide to do for that. And then the next one, I'll put the photo here. This is Home Sweet Home by Teresa Kogut. This is one that's part of her Patreon, so you would have to be a member of her Patreon. She has a secret store where she sells all of her Patreon patterns and some other patterns, and so I bought this from there. And then she also releases, at the level I'm at, which is only $8 a month, I think you get 2 patterns a month. I think you get a regular like medium size pattern and then an ornament. And so the ones for June were cute. They're like Stitchy Friends themed. So like the ornament just has like, I think it's Stitchy Friends Forever. So it says SFF with like a flower border. And then the actual regular size pattern was like 2 women and it says Stitchy Friends Forever, which are cute, but I don't have any real life Stitchy friends yet. And so I don't know. I don't think I'll stitch either of those right away, but I'm looking forward to see what she releases in July, whether she decides to go with something patriotic or if she goes more Christmas, because she did release some patriotic pieces recently. So we'll see what she has for July. But I'm loving stitching on this. I love her style. I now want to stitch all things Teresa Kogut. So this is Home Sweet Home. I am mixing things up a little bit. This is a 32 count Dove Lugana, and I am using, again, similar tones to the colors that she used, but a little bit brighter. The pink and the red is the same, but the yellows I'm brightening up a little bit. So this border is brighter. The beehive itself will be a brighter color. I just like the way brighter yellows pop on like a blue fabric. And I was thinking about it, and I guess beehives are actually more like tan and brown, which is how she originally stitched this, but whenever I think bees and beehives, I think bright yellow. So brighten it up a bit. Got to working on the bee since you last saw it. I did more of this border, and I think I got the flowers all done. This one still needs its leaf, so I gotta remember to do that. And then I started down there on that bee skip or beehive. So this is gonna be super cute, and yeah, I'm enjoying working on this one. And since I have it up, spoiler alert, this is gonna be stitched on a lot next month because July for WIPGO, one of the calls was to work for 5 hours on a summer piece. So this will be my summer piece. I will work on this all next month, maybe finish it. I probably finish it in August. There's a couple other things I wanna finish next month, so I think I'm gonna shoot for August with this one. It's really fast stitch. 32 count lugana. I feel like I stitch pretty quickly, and her patterns it's very easy. It's really nice. So that's Home Sweet Home. And then the next one, I worked on this one a lot while I was with my parents. This is one of the ones, Home Sweet Home was one of the ones I brought with me to my parents, and then I brought Wizard of Oz. And I finished Dorothy since you last saw this, and Tin Man. And so this is on 36 count Milk and Honey by Fiber on a Whim, and I am using the Called For DMC, and I got the Tin Man and Dorothy done. So, and I started, not the Tin Man, Dorothy and the Scarecrow. I call him the Tin Man twice. I am working on the Tin Man, he's over there. I was missing one of his grays, so I need to see if I have that in stash, which is why I didn't really make too much more progress. I also did Toto, so he's really cute. And this is cute. This will be easy to stitch. I don't know if I would have room to have put the picture there, so I'll flash it again just in case, because it's a PDF from the Little Stitcher. She's on Etsy. She has some really cute pop culture patterns. I want to do a Mary Poppins. She has some Mary Poppins, and she also has Anne of Green Gables. And I finished listening to Anne of Green Gables on audiobook just earlier this month. But there's also, I think she's called Stitching Book Club. I'm gonna have to put it on the screen. I saw it on Instagram, but there's a designer who does book-themed stitching patterns, and she does a lot of stitch-alongs, and she's starting an Anne of Green Gables one. So I might do that one, or I might do the Little Stitcher one. I'll have to think about it. I just want to do all the starts, and like, I already have a lot of haul, and then that's buying more patterns, but we'll see. I might wait for like the first installment of that sal to come out, or the first couple, to see like what the style is and what it might look like, and then decide, or maybe I should wait till the whole thing is released. I don't do many mystery stitch-alongs, and that's, I think, in part because I'm like, ooh, what if I don't end up really liking it? You have to really like the style of the designer, I think, and then you'll know maybe whether you'll like it or not. I don't know, so we'll see. But I do want to do an Anne of Green Gables something, and then that's Wizard of Oz, and like that, Anne of Green Gables, Mary Poppins would all be cute to put above my bookshelves. And I don't have anything hanging up there, and I probably won't at this point, because Alex and I are looking for a house or looking for a place to live together for when we're married. And so I don't want to hang anything on the wall in my apartment at this point. It's just too much work, too much effort to figure that out. But I am promised a stitching, reading office space in the house. So Alex already knows I want that, and he's good with it, so I will have lots of room on those walls to hang things. So that's Wizard of Oz, and then Strawberry House was my next one. I made a lot of progress on this one. I think I stitched this at my parents' too. I brought a few things with me. And I want to finish this one this month, or next month, because this month is almost over. This is the pattern. I should show that. Little House Needleworks. It's super cute, really simple, a nice summer stitch. And this is on 32 count Ice Murano using Call For DMC and Weeks Dye Works and Classic Colorworks. No, incorrect. I am using Weeks Dye Works Cocoa for the roof and the border because I didn't have the Classic Colorworks Beans Caterpillar. And then this is Ladybug Classic Colorworks, and then the green is Bean Sprout Classic Colorworks, and then the rest is DMC. So isn't that cute? I really like how that looks. I don't know if the variegation is coming in. Yeah, you can see it. There we go. So this is super cute. And another spoiler alert, I'm going into plans just while I'm showing things. For WIPGO, the middle square was called. So WIPGO is like bingo for your whips. It's a bingo board, so it's all squares. And it's Jessie Marie Does Stuff is the one who created it. You can check out her on Flosstube and on Instagram. And she calls numbers every month, and you stitch whatever's in that square for that number. And so 13, I think, is the middle square on the bingo board. And so you can either do that as a free space, or some people do like a finish, and that's what I did. So 13 is to finish something, and that is for July, that was called. So I will finish this in July. I just said finish a project, not fully finish, but I want to fully finish this next month too. So I will both finish and fully finish this. Hopefully, I haven't had any fully finishes, I think, since April maybe. It's been a while. So I want to get to finishing things. And I did finish Be Happy by Primrose Cottage stitches and like an I Love You pattern from Hands On Design. And I haven't fully finished either of those. So when I finish this, I might fully finish all three in like one evening, have like a finishing party and just get a whole bunch of little finishes. So that's Strawberry House, and that's super cute. I really like this one. And then the last WIP I have is Black Butterfly Sampler. I'll put it here. That is by Shaded Stitchery. I know that there's a couple other floss tubers who picked this up. Bridget, the Museum Stitchers 1 year Flosstube anniversary just occurred. And so she and I don't know if Megan is stitching it. I think Megan might be stitching it. Megan, the Seattle Stitcher, and maybe Cam the Stitcher. I could be wrong, but I know Bridget's working on it, and I think maybe Megan and Cam or a couple of the other floss tubers are working on it as like Bridget's 1 year anniversary stitch, flossiversary stitch, and Bridget started it because she saw it was on my channel. And Bridget thinks I'm done with this. I'm not done, Bridget. I'm not even close, but that's okay. So last time I had mostly finished this, and I think I hadn't finished this wing. This is a 28 count white even weave, and I am using Classic Colorworks Black Coffee, which is not the called for. It's just what I chose to use. And so with this butterfly, I think I was around here, and I messed something up. And I tried to figure out where I messed up. I could not figure out where it was, and I didn't want to frog all of this, especially using a fancy floss. And so what I'm doing is I'm just mirroring it. So I'm not even looking at the pattern as I stitch this part, I'm looking at this. And that way, like, I will just remake the same mistake over here that I made over here to make sure both sides look exactly the same. And you would not know that I made a mistake if you see this, because butterflies can look however you want. And there's something here, like this should be longer, but something here happened. So, but it doesn't matter. It's not, you're not gonna know. And so basically, to make up for the mistake, I'm going to remake the mistake on the other side and make sure they match. So that works. So that's what I've done since you last saw this, just trying to count and be like, all right, forget it. I don't know what I did over here, and just copy exactly for this side. And so yeah, this is coming along. I need to spend a lot more time on this in July. This is for my niece. She's not gonna know about it when she's born, whether it's there or not, but I don't want, you know, it to be done when she's 1. I'd like it to be done within the year that she's born. She's, I don't know the exact due date, but early July. Like, we got a couple weeks or less if she comes early or whatever happens. So she's coming soon, very soon. So we need to make some progress on this. So that I can gift it to my brother and my sister-in-law, and they can hang it in her nursery. So that's Black Butterfly Sampler. There's my Salty Yarns needle minder that I got when I went to Salty Yarns. This is really nice. This is one of these like zappy dots, and it's really strong. I really like this. So that is Black Butterfly Sampler. And I definitely will not get to the alphabet before she's born, so I'll definitely be able to stitch her initials in a different color, I think, is what I'm gonna do. I think I might stitch them either in a purple or a green. I might do like a soft minty green. Green is my sister-in-law's favorite color, so I think she might like that. So yeah, I really like this one. This is fun to stitch. It's fun to stitch something that's monochromatic too. This is the first stitch I've done where I'm stitching all in one color, and I'm really enjoying doing that because then you don't have to like figure out what color's next and find it. You just have the one skein and you're good to go. I did need to buy some more black coffee, which came this week, or came today. So yeah, that's coming along well. And Shaded Stitchery has a lot of really lovely patterns, so definitely check her out. She's on Gumroad, which is kind of like an Etsy type platform. So that's where you can find her stuff. Just Google Shaded Stitchery and you'll be able to see that. Okay, so that's everything that is stitched on. I feel like I stitched on more than I thought, but that was pretty good progress considering when I'm with my parents. Like, I did stitch a little bit, especially because Wednesday the weather was so gross, but mostly I'm just enjoying spending time with them. And when I'm watching movies with my mom at night, one night we were making cupcakes and watched A Man Called Otto, which is based off the Frederick Buckman book, A Man Called Ove, and it stars Tom Hanks. It was cute. We enjoyed it, so that was good. And then the other night we watched Encanto, but when we're watching movies together, she likes movie theater setting with the lights off, and I don't want to like bother her by asking if I can stitch. Like, I think when you're with your parents, especially, I see them a good amount, but I think I just want to like be present and be with them. And I think if you're stitching, it might feel like you're not. So I don't know, but yeah, so I think a good amount of stitching, all things considered. So let's go into my, do I want to do haul next? There was one thing. Oh, Stitchy Treats. So 2 of you emailed me for the Stitchy Treats that I announced the winners of in my last video. So thank you. I promise I will get to the post office this week. It's on the list. But there are 2 individuals who did not get back to me. So the first one is Amy Huddleston. Last name is Hudelson. Amy, please email me. You won something. Watch my last video to see. But please shoot me an email if you would like me to send you that, and please include your address. I am Novel Stitcher, all one word, @gmail.com. And then Joy AC, A-C-E-Y, Joy AC. You also won something, so please email me your address and I will get that out to you. And I'll go back and find their comments and let them know that they won, just in case. I know summer is busy and it's easy to fall behind on watching Flosstubes and not realize that you won. So hopefully you 2 will get back to me. If you're unable to, or you don't want the giveaway anymore, I will put it back into the pile and we'll do some Stitchy Treats again next video. So now we can do haul. And so I'm gonna do fabric first and then patterns with some plans. This is all gonna be together, but it's quite a bit of haul. One of the things I did get an order from Hollis Hands Create on Etsy. I really like her shop. She's got a really great selection of fabrics, fast shipping, really nice. Watch her Flosstube. She just had a recent episode come out. I really like watching her Flosstube. So that's Hollis Hands Create. And I needed the black coffee because I got black coffee when I was at Salty Yarns, and I think I dropped it while I was looking at all the patterns. I think I just dropped it on the floor, or maybe I left it somewhere, because when I got home I looked in the bag and it was not in there, and I was like, oh, I don't know what I did here, but I did not. So I needed to make an order, and I had a gift card. Anyway, so this is haul from Hollis Hands Creates, from Salty Yarns, and from Sea Needles. So Salty Yarns is in Berlin, Maryland. It's about 40 minutes from my parents. Berlin is a really cute town. It's got really nice restaurants and little shops, and Salty Yarns is just outside the main downtown area in a strip mall, and it's huge. It is almost, well, no, it's not almost, it is overwhelming. And I think that Laura was there from Stitching by the Shore just the day before. She was there on Monday. I went on Tuesday. And she was like, I got so overwhelmed, like I didn't even take pictures or anything. But it's fantastic if you live in the area, or you're gonna be around Maryland, that more East Maryland, North Maryland, I don't know geography. Don't ask me geography. Never gonna be able to tell you where things are. But if you're in the area, I highly recommend you go. Leave a lot of time, and I don't know if you should have a plan. I didn't have a plan, and I was like, I don't even know what I want. I don't even know what to look at. Like, I knew I wanted fabric, so that was good, but I also probably should have looked at patterns first and then kitted something up, and instead I went straight to the fabric and was just like, this is nice, I'll get this. And I didn't have any plans for what I was gonna use that fabric for. So next time I would probably go and either come with a pattern in mind that I already have, looking if they have the fabric, or pick a pattern out that they have at the store and then kit it up. But regardless, I haven't been to that many cross stitch stores, so I'm still learning. My parents went with me and were very kind to just, there were seats at the front of the store and they just chatted and played on their phones and said, take all the time you want. But I still felt like I didn't want to be there for hours because it was like noon. Everybody wants lunch. We went before lunch because it was like more on the way to lunch. And so I didn't want to take forever. All that said, amazing store, racks and racks and racks of patterns, like anything you could want, tons of fabric. It was fun. I will be back. Maybe I'll figure out a way to go back and like send my mom, like maybe just me and my mom will go and she can like go into Berlin and like shop a little and then come back and get me or something. Or maybe I'll send her and maybe I'll go with her and my dad like in the fall. My mom said she would get me a gift card for my birthday and they can just go to lunch and I'll eat before we leave. And then while they're eating lunch, I can have like a whole hour or so. Anyway, so I got, for fabric from there, 32 count Creek Bed Brown by R&R Reproductions. I'm not gonna take this out of the plastic if I can help it. No, maybe I should. All right, I'll try not to crinkle too much. Here it comes. I just didn't wanna lose the little tags that are just loose in here, but this is the fabric. It's just a nice brown, just a good neutral brown that I wanted to make sure I had some slightly darker, more neutrals, because a lot of mine are really light and they're the kind that like white won't really show up on. So this is really nice. I like R&R Reproductions. It has a nice feel to it. So that's that one. And then I'm not gonna take this out of the bag because you saw it. I got the gray, I have to like look at this word to be able to pronounce it. Anthracite. Anthracite. I don't know what that is. I should look it up. It's probably some sort of stone or rock or something. I don't know. But that's 40 count. I got a huge thing of that. And they'll cut it for you. So they have just like huge rolls of fabric and then you tell them what size you want, which I think the store owner got like a little confused because I just like handed her the anthracite and I was like, what size should I get? She's like, I don't know. Like, well, how much do you want? And I said, I don't know, like what are your normal cut amounts, which is like a fat quarter, a fat half, but I don't actually know the dimensions of those off the top of my head. So she was like, we can do this or we can do that. And I was like, give me the big cut of this. And she was just like, okay. I think people probably pick patterns out first and then look for fabric. And then they know like what size they would need it to be cut to. And I did it the opposite way where I was just like, let me just grab some random fabrics and I'll figure out what patterns to use for them later. So, and then I got another R&R Reproductions because I like them. Ooh. And this is a 36 count. Oh, I got a 30 count. Yeah, just to be different. I've never stitched on a 30 count. So this is a 30 count and this is Blue Moon Java. And that's coming out pretty accurate. Is it a little darker than that? Maybe a little darker, but it's kind of like this tealy blue color. It's actually not as soft as the 32 count, but it's like a funky color. I don't know what I'm gonna do on this. Once again, I just bought it because I thought it was cool. My mom liked this color. She was the one who was like, this is cool. So I'll see what could work on this. Something Christmassy or Halloween. I'll see what I want to do. But that's R&R Reproductions Blue Moon Java. It's nice being able to actually look at the fabric in the store. I probably should have spent a little bit more time looking at fabrics, but like, again, I've never been in a store where they have like the big rolls of it all stacked up, and I was like, again, like overwhelmed. There was just a lot of fabric and I didn't know what to do. So that's what the fabric I got at Salty Yarns. I also got fabric at Sea Needles. Sea Needles is in Bethany Beach. I would say it's small. It's a very small store. They also have yarn and knitting stuff, which of course Salty Yarns has a ton of knitting stuff. I don't knit, but if you do, highly recommend. I'm sure they have a great selection. They had a ton of it. And so does Sea Needles. Sea Needles is, in my opinion, it's all the patterns and what you can pick out is older. They didn't seem to have like a lot of the new stuff, whereas Salty Yarns had racks and racks of like patterns that just came out this year in the past couple years. Salty Yarns, I think, is where you're gonna find your little gems and your hidden treasures, and you're gonna find things that maybe are out of print. I don't know if they would sell out of print stuff, but definitely older patterns, which makes it overwhelming in a different kind of way, because then you really can't go in with a plan of what you're gonna pick up. You just kind of gotta see what they have. And a much small, they did not have much fabric. A little disappointed that there wasn't much fabric, but I'm sure it's not easy to get stuff in, and I don't think they do a lot of the hand-dyed fabrics. So I just got a 18 count navy Ada, which I'm sure I'll be able to find something to stitch on this. I was thinking something Christmas, and doing a monochromatic stitch and using like a light gray or a white and doing something like that. So we'll see. And then continuing with fabric, I did say that I got an order from Hollis Hands Creates on Etsy. I had a gift card, so I was like, I will just buy whatever, get up to the $50 that I had for the gift card. And so I just wanted to try something different, so I got Duxbury by Fox and Rabbit. So this is cool. I'm gonna stitch something fall or Halloween, probably Halloween. Really interesting modeling. It's probably looking a little bit more gray beige, but it's a more yellow beige. It's a little bit lighter than what's showing, but that's cool. It's got a lot of splashes. So I'll see what I want to stitch. Did I have something? So I was thinking maybe, let me know what you think, I would stitch Halloween, Happy Halloween by Silver Creep Samplers on this, maybe. Or a Teresa Kogut, because she's got a lot of cool Halloween ones that would look good on this. I'm wondering if I want to do a Teresa Kogut and this one something just more plain and neutral with all those little details. I wouldn't want them to get lost in the modeling on this, but that's cool. And then also from Hollis Hands Creates, I got Up in the Attic, also by Fox and Rabbit, right? Yep, 36 count. Oh, the Duxbury is 40 count. This is 36 count. Probably more pinky than brown that's showing up here, but I got this because, and this is getting into plans for a second, I'm gonna start for Christmas in July, Plum Street Samplers, This Joyous Season. This is a SAL, and this SAL is being held by Stitching is Elementary and Mrs. Smith Stitches. I saw it on Mrs. Smith Stitches Instagram account and maybe on her Flosstube. She has a Flosstube, definitely check her out. And this is Stitch This Joyous Season Sal. I think I got that right. So I've had this one since last year. This is one of the first ones. I think I saw Annie, the Proper Stitcher, had this one, and this is one of the first ones where I was like, I don't know why I like that. It's not something I would think would be my style. I was new to stitching. It's a bit more primitive with a huge house, but I was like, I just want it. I just want to stitch that. I don't know. I just like the big house and the berries, and I like Repeat the Sounding Joy. So I got the Up in the Attic because that's the called for. And also from Hollis Hands Creates, because I wanted to get to the $50 to make it easy to use the Visa gift card and just not have to add anything else to it. I got this one, Autumn Dream. This is Cottage Garden Samplings, and I also have had my eye on this one for a very long time. Every time I see this, I want it, and I don't know if I've seen any floss tubers stitch this. That's not to say that no one has, I just haven't seen anyone, and I like, it makes me think, like that little pumpkin, it makes me think, and it says dream of Cinderella. It seems Cinderella-y to me, and so I got that one, and I will probably stitch that this fall. This is on Sanguine from Weeks Dye Works, but I'll see if I want to do that or a different linen, but I like that one. So now let's get into patterns from the actual physical stitch stores. So the first bit will all be the patterns I got at Salty Yarns, and then the second bit will be sea needles. And I don't normally or won't normally have this much haul. I will say I got a bonus at work the other week. They do a bonus twice a year for us. We get like our normal performance-based bonus in the winter or the end of the year. And then in the summer, they do a special bonus for the employees. So that was good timing. So this one is by Tralala. I'm not gonna try to pronounce it, but I'm pretty sure it means Christmas tableau, and it's really cute. I don't want to take everything out of the plastic because then you have to put everything back into the plastic, and then you have to remember which plastic things fit which patterns. So that is probably why half the time people don't take things out of the plastic. So, but these are really cute. This is really cute with all these little Christmas scenes. And I think what I might do that I haven't really done before is stitch just like one of these, like really small, almost as an ornament or as just a really small, I don't know how tiny that would end up being, but as just like a small. And I think I would start with this one with Santa and the reindeer, or maybe this one with the house or the bunnies, or stitch all of them as really teeny littles. So I'll have to see. I'll have to look at the pattern and see how that would work, because Michael's has those really mini baby frames, and I really want to stitch something for the mini baby frames, but it has to be small. I think they're like 2 inches by 3 inch frames, something like that, but they're really cute. So maybe that would work. So I got that one. That's from these are all from Salty Yarns. I got another Little House Needleworks. This is from the All Dolled Up series, which is Strawberry House. So this is Fresh Watermelon. And I'm gonna stitch this on the same fabric, which I have enough of, that Strawberry House is stitched on. And maybe even use these. This uses all different colors from Strawberry House, but I might use the same ones. I might use the Ladybug for the watermelon and some of the same colors, and I can put those out together and they would match. So I thought that was really cute. And then I've never stitched a shepherd's bush before, so I got 2 shepherd's bush, and then I realized I didn't get the buttons, but I can still order the buttons if I want the buttons, because they like to use buttons. But Pumpkin Harvest, I love this one. This is so cute. And just like the twirlies on top of that pumpkin, and just the way they did this. And so it has buttons like here, and there's a crow up there. And there's like a little bee, I think, or something, just different little buttons. So I don't think you necessarily for this one have to do the buttons. They're not in a place where they don't have any, some designers like Little House Needleworks have it so that, I can't show it right now, but because it's buried, but Strawberry House has little hearts at the top or little flowers at the top, and it has where you can stitch it. It's in the pattern, the stitching is in the pattern, or you can use buttons. This one doesn't have that. You use the buttons, or you don't have anything to replace that with. There's no stitching example. But this one, the buttons aren't in a place where you would actually need stitches if you just chose to leave them off. So we'll see how I feel about that, but I can order the buttons if I want them. And then another one, which I might order the buttons for just because they make more sense, is Scattered Kindness, also Shepherd's Bush. So I thought that was really cute. And I grabbed this one because I was showing my mom what I was pulling, and I had like a fall one and other ones, and she was like, you should get something that's summer. It's summer right now. So I was like, all right, let me see what I can find. So more bees, but maybe I'll have like a whole little bee theme display in the coming years when I stitch more bees. So I got that one, and then I got season 2 from Hands On Design. I've wanted this for a while, and I saw it and I was like, why not? They photographed really dark. This is like not, this is better. Okay, so these are the ones where each month gets a block, and so they're like this: January, February, March, for the whole year. And I just like how she did this. I like the turkeys and the white pumpkin and the seagulls. I just liked what she chose to represent each month. September is kind of like sunflowers and apples. It's just perfect to me. It's just a perfect representation of each month of the year. And I think I'm gonna stitch them separate. They have them stitched separate on the front. I'm sure you've seen these before. Separate like that, or there are those like wood block calendars with the actual date that you could stitch it in. So I'll have to see how I want to stitch this, but these are cute. And it's fun to stitch one thing for each month, and I'll talk about it maybe more in my next video. If you've been around since the beginning of the year, you might remember that I had started Jardin Privé has one where it's blocks for each month. And I just decided to UFO it, to unfinished object it, which means put it away and probably not finish it. I just wasn't feeling it. I didn't like the design or the theme she chose for each month. Also, Jardin Privé is French, right? And so like Thanksgiving, there wasn't any, like November was just flowers because they don't do Thanksgiving, so there's not much to represent November. And so I like this one better, so I'm gonna do that one instead. So that was the first project that I just like didn't finish, which is okay. And then the last one that I got at Salty Yarns was Star Sampler by Heart and Hand. And I don't have much patriotic and I won't stitch this year, but I think just to have something in July that's slightly patriotic, I thought this was good. It's just kind of simple, not overly patriotic, and I thought it was cute. So I got that one. So that's Salty Yarns. And then I got just a few patterns at, I think I had 3. I think I might have lost a pattern along the way. It's somewhere in the apartment. Because I think I got 3 patterns at Sea Needles, but now I'm just having 2. So I don't know what I did. Maybe the Tra-La-La one was from, I don't know. All right, ignore me. But I really like this one, and I'm gonna start this one soon. And I got this at Sea Needles, and this is Blue Ribbon Designs, Poinsettias and Pines. I really like this one. I think this is so pretty. And actually, Lauren, the New Hampshire stitcher, for her birthday in September is doing a BAP sale, a big beep project sale for very big projects that you want to start. It's like the back to school sale, which is cute, like back to school, but back to school. Anyway, so it's just stitch something really big, and you can define what's really big. Obviously, some would say a full coverage is really big. Others would say a sampler could be pretty big. You know, it's whatever you feel is a really big project for you to stitch. And so this might be my back to school sale start, or I might do, what's it called, Floral Motif by the Scarlet House. I like that one too. So, but I do want to start this one this year because I think it's really pretty. And then the last one I have on the pile here is Garden Tiles. I haven't stitched any Rosewood Manor. I thought these were really pretty, and you could stitch them individually as smalls, which is probably what I will do. And so I got these because I thought that was fun and kind of spring summery. So that is my haul. That's pretty good, right? That's the most haul possibly I've ever shown, except for when my Needleworks shop does a sidewalk sale, but that's a little different because you're just filling a bag with stuff. But yeah, it was a good time, good shopping, and actually I will have haul again in my next episode because it's the Fat Quarter Shop's 20th birthday and they're having a 20% off everything in their store sale. So I was bad and I did that too. And I got some more fabrics and one more pattern and some needle minders. But then no spending until my birthday in September. So that's how I'm handling it. Spent a lot in June, so July and August will be a non-spending couple of months, except for maybe like a pattern if some sort of sale starts or something cool happens for Christmas in July. I can buy like one thing, but otherwise I'm all set. So that was haul. I do have a couple Flosstube recommendations. The first one, which I don't think I've recommended her before, and the second one I have probably, but I'm gonna recommend her again. So the first one is Pumpkin Hollow Quilts. That is Olivia. I just love her channel. I think that she does more primitive stitching. She does medium-sized pieces and smaller pieces, and she's just a beautiful stitcher. Like you watch her and you want to be her, like you want to stitch like her because it's just beautiful. She does quilts too, and she always has a beautiful quilt behind her. She's just very calm and relaxing to watch, and I just love her channel and love seeing what she's working on. and think that her stitching is just beautiful. And she always finds really cool frames. Mostly she frames her stuff, and she does really beautiful job with the framing. I think she goes to thrift stores and finds frames, and no matter the size, I think often her husband is able to kind of cut them down and make them fit, which is really cool. So I like her channel a lot, and she just started making project bags too and has an Etsy shop. So that's Pumpkin Hollow Quilts. So check her out. And then the other one, she's just on my mind because I just watched her latest Flosstube, is Sew Me Sarah. Sarah lives in Northern Ireland, so I love watching her because I did study abroad in Ireland, not Northern Ireland, but I studied abroad in the Republic of Ireland in college. And so I like, you know, hearing about her life in Ireland and listening to her accent, and then of course seeing her beautiful stitching. She's got so much to share every episode. She really stitches some beautiful and fun things. I think she's doing a sale right now for any like kits, to promote kits, dimensions kits, or any kind of kits. And so she's stitching like some teacups from a kit that are really beautiful. So I really like Sarah's channel. So check out Sew Me Sarah. And then plans. So I talked about Xmas and Christmas in July. I'm gonna stitch This Joyous Day as part of the Stitch This Joyous Day season sale. Oh, it's called This Joyous Season. I think I say This Joyous Day because there's another one that's This Joyous Day that I'm working on. Is that what it's called? A lot of stuff has the same names. Anyway, so I'll be stitching that one, the Plum Street Sampler one that I showed. And then WIPGO was 21, 9, and 13. So 21 is 5 hours on Halloween. I'm gonna do my Enchanted Quaker style. I'll talk about it in a second. So check mark on easily get to that, 6 hours. 6 hours on Halloween, so I'll work on that one. 5 hours on summer. I will work on Home Sweet Home by Teresa Kogut. And then number 13 is To Finish Something, which will be Strawberry House. And so let's talk about my sal. So this will start on Friday. Today is Monday, June 26th. It will start Friday, June 30th, or whenever. You want to start today, go for it. I don't know what today is going to be for you, but if today is not Friday, you can start today. If you are waiting for your pattern or just couldn't decide whether you wanted to join in, and you do want to join in, or I know a couple people said they're not in like a fall or Halloween stitchy mood right now, join whenever. I'm not going to finish this one in the next, maybe by Halloween, but we'll see. But it's Enchanted Quaker by Luminous Fiber Arts. It just came out this year, and it's super duper duper cute, and I love, love, love it. And so this is the sal. To stitch this one, start whenever, easy peasy sal, no rules to what you have to stitch when. I was originally gonna split this into chunks and do a certain chunk in a certain amount of time, and we're all busy, it's summer, I'm planning a wedding, so I just want this to be very relaxed. The only rule is to stitch this pattern. Doesn't matter when you start, doesn't matter when you finish, join me whenever. I'm sure I'll be stitching this through the fall, so if you're not in a fall mood, but you will be by August or September, join in then, and just use hashtag Enchanted Quaker Sal. And so what I'm gonna do, in case you're interested in doing something similar, we'll start with fabric. I'm gonna use a gray like Misty did. This is just a 36 count pearl linen, just a neutral gray. She used Vintage Stormy Night, which is what I'm stitching Christmas delivery on, so you've seen that fabric. And then she used Black Coffee. I'm gonna use 310 DMC just because I'm using Black Coffee for the Black Butterfly sampler, and I've already bought a lot of skeins for that one, so I'm like a little Black Coffee'd out, and the Fancy Floss is just a little expensive because this takes 8 skeins of Black Coffee. So instead, we're gonna just use our DMC 310. But I'm going to not stitch the whole thing in 310. I'm going to stitch some stuff in different colors. So right now, subject to change based on the whims of Katie, I am going to stitch, I want it to be evenly dispersed with the color. I don't want to have too much color in one spot or too little. So we're going to start here. I'm going to do probably either this motif or this motif in, and I'm going to use Classic Colorworks because I'm part of Fat Quarter Shop's monthly Classic Colorworks Floss Fix, and so I have a ton of Classic Colorworks. So Bing Cherry, I think I'll hold these up against. So just a nice mottled maroony kind of red is going to be one of these two. I think I might just do it this so it's not too overwhelming, but I might do this. So we'll see. So we'll have something here that's that color. Now I don't have a yellow Classic Colorworks, so I'm gonna go with Weeks Whiskey unless in my July Floss Fix I get a yellow. So that's Weeks Dye Works Whiskey. And the yellow is going to be the moon. So I want color here because then I'll have color here and then down here. So for the cauldron, and I think probably for the words cauldron bubble, as well as the bubbles in the cauldron, I'm going to use Classic Colorworks Peapod. A nice, fun, potiony kind of green. So that's Peapod. So then we'll have the color up here, here, and down here. Then we move over here, and I wanted something in here to be a color. So I think, oh, okay. So up here, the owl, to get a little color up here, and here, and then you'll have color here. The owl, I'm gonna use Barn Door, kind of a reddish brown variegation on that one. So that will be the owl. And then I think the word Halloween, I'm going to do, I'm trying to remember what I wanted to do. So Halloween, let me know what you think. I have two more colors over here. So I'm gonna do Halloween. Let's just do the pumpkin. He's easy. He's gonna be Autumn Spice. Perfect for a pumpkin. And so if there's color here, here, then there needs to be something around here and up here. And so I'm gonna do Halloween in a different color, and then probably this motif above the cat right there. And so the two choices are Blooming Crocus and Bejeweled. And so let me know what you think. Should the purple be the word Halloween, or should like the Bejeweled, which is like a teal, like a dark teal. I think maybe Halloween and purple might be good. And then Bejeweled would be this little star. So let me know if you think that sounds good. But I think that's what I might do. I think Halloween, like purple, I definitely think like very Halloween and the word Halloween, and then like for that kind of star motif, Bejeweled. So that is the plan. So 310 for much of it. And then all of these beautiful Classic Colorworks. Look at these colors with this gray fabric too, for some of the different motifs. So please let me know if you're joining in. Let me know if you're gonna stitch it. There's a gigantic wasp outside. Ooh, I don't like bugs. Let me know if you're gonna stitch it all in the black coffee, or are you gonna do kind of what I'm doing, or are you gonna add some pops of color to it? I think Heather, 20-Minute Stitcher, is doing it in a couple different colors too. I think she's using some different variegated flosses, not quite like this. I don't know if she's doing different colors for different motifs, but I think she's doing the whole thing in some fun variegated colors. So let me know if you'll join in. Please do. Please, share on Instagram. Use the hashtag Enchanted Quaker Sal. Message me or tag me if you want in any of your posts regarding this. I am novel_stitcher on Instagram, or email me if you don't have Instagram and you still want to share what you're working on. That's totally fine if you're not an Instagram user, but you want to connect. Always around on email. And I think that's all of the stitching. So that was pretty good. About an hour of stitching talk. So hopefully I wasn't too all over the place. It's Monday. And I had a lot to share, and I don't normally share that much haul, so hopefully I wasn't too disorganized about that. And if you're just here for the stitching, that's totally fine. Thank you for joining and watching. Let me know what you're stitching on. Are you going to join in on the Sal? Are you doing Christmas in July? What are your plans for July? Are you doing WIPGO? How's it going? Anything you want to chat about. What are you doing this summer? How's the weather been? Just leave me a comment, say hi. If you're, you know, sometimes you don't always know what to say in a comment, so you can always just leave me a sun emoji, because I really want the sun to come out. I'm tired of this stormy weather. So let's move on to books. And let me grab my books. Okay, so I think in my last episode, I was a good bit into Fourth Wing, but hadn't finished yet. So I'm reading, or I have read Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, I think is the author. Didn't write that down. Pretty sure I'm right about that. So I finished it, and I would say I would give it 4 out of 5 stars. Again, this is, if you're a fantasy reader, you will, I think, most likely enjoy this. If you're not a fantasy reader, but you think like you might like fantasy, or it's something you'd be willing to try, I think this might be a good entry into fantasy. The world building isn't too complicated. The magic isn't too crazy. It's not what I would call high fantasy. It's also not YA. It's not teenagers. They're in their 20s, early 20s, college. So it might be good for that. Very quick synopsis, magical world, main character Violet needs to go to like college or go to her training, you know, move into adulthood, wants to be a scribe, work in the library, write about history, work with books. Mother runs the war academy, the Dragon War Academy, says, no, you're not going to be a scribe, you're going to be a dragon rider. Violet has some chronic illness issues. She can feel very weak sometimes. She's very small. So dragon riding, she doesn't want to do it and thinks probably she'll die, because a lot of people don't even make it into the college, because there's a test to get in that a lot of people die during, and then, you know, the training and stuff, and if the dragons don't like you, they kill you. So there's that. So anyway, Violet, obviously, I don't think it's a spoiler to say she becomes a dragon rider, because if she died in the first 50 pages of the book would then end. Or it would be written by George R.R. Martin, but it's not. So anyway, I thought it was good. It was enjoyable. It was a quick read. It had all of the elements that you would like with a fantasy. It did have a romance, but the romance wasn't too cliche. It was like a little bit like they're really into each other, and like, I don't know. Like, all right, calm down a little bit. Like, do you really have to be like that into these people? Whatever. I don't know. Sometimes it's like a little bit too intense, and you're like, you can just calm down a little. Can you focus on something other than how handsome this man is? But it was still well written, and I liked his character. Forgetting his name, because I'm not great with names. I even had to write Violet, the main character's name, down. But I thought it was pretty good. Got a lot of hype. Is it 100% worth the hype? Maybe not, but I understand why it got so much hype. Is it the best fantasy book I've ever read? Definitely not. Am I going to read the sequel when it comes out this fall? Absolutely. Will I buy the sequel the day it comes out? Absolutely. So, very enjoyable. You'll probably like it if you like fantasy. I know a lot of other Flosstubers who are into fantasy have read it and enjoyed it too. Maybe we could do a little Fourth Wing book club, ladies, when the next book comes out and chat about it. Maybe we can do like a little like FaceTime or a Zoom and like stitch and chat about the book. That'd be fun. And then the other book I finished since I saw you last was The Summer Before the War. I finished this when I was at my parents' house. I would say I'm a little bit disappointed. I didn't love this one. I would say I gave it like a 3.5 stars out of 5, which means like I didn't, you know, DNF it, which means to just stop reading it. And I didn't hate it, but I just wouldn't reread it and wouldn't super highly recommend it. So I'm sorry if you heard me talking about it and you already went out and got it. You might still enjoy it more than I did, first of all. Second of all, if I'm ever talking about a book and I haven't finished it yet, don't view that as me fully recommending the book, but just giving my opinion as I read it, because it's possible that I might not end up loving the book. Or even if I suggest a book, which I'm about to do, that I bought and haven't read yet, please don't take that as a you must buy this book, because I might not end up liking the book. And I don't want anyone to feel like I recommended something to them and like gave them false expectations for it. Also, everybody has different reading tastes, so you might love something I don't love and hate something I love. Everybody's different. So it was cute. It was World War I. Woman becomes a Latin teacher in a small town in England. They don't really want her there because they don't think a woman should be teaching Latin. And then she gets involved in the society and what's going on in the society, and the war starts and the young men go off to war, and you can kind of picture what it's about. I think my biggest thing is there were so many loose ends that didn't, like she put so much in this book that like this woman, you know, she's coming to this school to be a Latin teacher and they don't want her to be a Latin teacher. And there's not that, a lot of it is the summer before the war starts, so she's not teaching yet. So there's that. She is teaching like a small group of pupils just like over the summer, but she's not teaching her full class. So there's all this stuff about her being a Latin woman teacher, but there's not that much of her teaching in this book. There's another character who comes in later on, and she's kind of the linchpin of some of the climax and the drama that happens toward the end of the book, which seems superfluous in some ways. Like, it was very sad, and it seemed like I don't understand what this is adding to the book to have this thing happen to her. And then at the end, like, there is a slight love story, and it's a good build up, but then it like builds up too fast. It's like you can see the connection and the attraction, and then all of a sudden it happens and you're like, what? Oh, okay, that's happening. And all of the action is at the end, which I'm kind of getting tired of, because then it's like it builds and builds and builds, and then everything happens at the end, and then you end the book and you're like, well, okay. Like, everything just happened at once, and like it's almost too much to where, I don't think it's a super spoiler, it's set in wartime. A character dies, and I just didn't really feel all that sad that this character died, when really I should have, but it's because so much other stuff was going on, and then all of a sudden like that happened, and you're like, oh, I guess I should feel sad. Oh no. But you're like, I don't know what's happening. It's like, yeah. So anyway, it wasn't horrible, I just didn't love it, and I really liked her other book, Major Pettigrew's Last Stand, which is why I bought this one, and this one just wasn't as good. So 3.5 stars out of 5. It happens, sometimes books disappoint you. So those are the 3 books I finished, 2 books I finished. The 2 books I am currently reading, one is audiobook, it is Remarkably Bright Creatures. I did not write down the name of the author, but I'm showing the cover of the book here, so it will have the author's name. Listening to this on audiobook, it's really good so far. Again, don't take that as me fully recommending this book, because maybe I'll hate it in the end, but I know a lot of people really enjoyed this one. I've mentioned her a few times, but Lauren, the New Hampshire Stitcher, I think read or listened to this one and really liked it. We have a lot in common with what we like to read, so I trust her in saying that she really liked it. And I'm really enjoying it so far. I don't have the synopsis in front of me, but like basically there's an older woman named Tova. This is set in the Pacific Northwest, Seattle area, Washington, around there. Tova is an older woman. Her husband has passed away, and she works at an aquarium. She's the cleaner, so she's mostly there at night, in the evenings, cleaning after everyone goes home. And she forges kind of this relationship with an octopus named Maurice. He's like a deep sea octopus. And in the audiobook, the parts with like Tova and the humans is narrated by one narrator, a woman. And then Maurice is actually narrated by a man, I think with a British accent. And I like that he has his own voice, because the octopus like narrates chapters. He has his own personality and inner thoughts and everything. And I like that. It's very interesting to get the perspective of an animal, especially an octopus. They're very smart. And basically like this octopus Maurice and Tova start kind of having a connection, like a friendship, or they kind of are starting to understand each other. And she has some trauma in her past. Her son went missing a couple years before the book starts. He was a teenager. I think he was in high school. And they don't really know what happened to him, presumed dead, but they're not really sure. And like there's, so it's kind of like a mystery in that way, like what happened to him. And then there's a connection there with Maurice that I won't give away, that I'm just kind of understanding and getting into. But so far it's like really beautifully written, the scenery, setting the scene like I can imagine it. It's been rainy lately and it's in the Pacific Northwest, so it's probably like gray and rainy a lot there. And so far I'm really enjoying it. So far I recommend this one. Remains to be seen. And then the other one, I bought 3 books when I was on vacation. My mom bought me one and I bought the others. But I had to get Lisa C's latest book, Lady Tan's Circle of Women. Lisa C is one of my absolute favorite authors. I love all of her books. And so we'll see how I like this one. I'm only 30 pages in. I do have a good friend who also really likes Lisa C, and her thing was, if you like Lisa C and you've read her books, you will like this one. Maybe don't start with this if you haven't read Lisa C. So I have not finished it, so I will let you know if I agree with her when I do. And I'll give you a little bit of the synopsis. It's about a young woman named, and I'm probably not going to be able to pronounce her last name properly, so apologies for that. It's Tan Yunzin. She's born into an elite family and being raised by her grandparents after her mother dies. Her grandmother is one of only a handful of female doctors in China, and she teaches Yunzin the pillars of Chinese medicine and that the body is a reflection of the cosmos. From a young age, Yunzin learns about women's illnesses, many of which are related to childbearing. Alongside a young midwife in training, Mei Ling, the 2 girls find fast friendship and a mutual purpose. Basically being a woman doctor in China was not a thing back then, or not much respected. So they connect through that and vow to be forever friends. Then Yunzin is sent into arranged marriage, and her mother-in-law forbids her from seeing Mei Ling and from helping young women and girls in the household or for performing medical services. Yunzin is to act like a proper wife, embroider bound foot slippers, pluck instruments, recite poetry, and give birth to sons. How might a woman like Yunzin break free of these traditions, go on to treat women and girls from every level of society, and lead a life of such importance that many of her remedies are still used 5 centuries later? I'm assuming that says that she was a real historical figure. How might the power of friendship support or complicate these efforts? Lady Tan's Circle of Women is a captivating story of women helping other women. It is a triumphant reimagining of the life of a woman who was remarkable in the Ming Dynasty and would be considered remarkable today. So I don't know the actual history of this young woman, but I'm sure it seems like it's based on a real person and just reimagining her life, because I assume maybe there's not that much out there about her. I think my friend did say there's just a lot of medical stuff in this book that might be uncomfortable for some people to read. I mean, back then, medicine was much different than it is today. People got sick and didn't get better. Obviously, they're talking about childbearing and issues that could come with that. And then we know that feet binding was something that happened a lot. Maybe it still does today, I hope not, but a lot in China, especially back in that time, and that was really dangerous and not a great thing. But I love Lisa C, and I'm enjoying this one so far. I think her writing is just spectacular. And then the 2 books, I'm going on for, this is almost an hour and 15 minutes, so I'll just quickly say I got Finley Donovan is Killing It. I want to say Bridget was reading this one, or maybe it was someone else, but basically she's a stressed out single mom of 2, and she's an author, and she's discussing the plot of her new novel with her agent, and she's mistaken for a contract killer. And so she, I think, accepts the offer to dispose of a problem husband and gets involved in real life crime. So it's supposed to be funny, witty, so twisty and surprising. So that's supposed to be cute. So that seems like a good summer read. And then I like my romance. So I got Abby Jimenez's Part of Your World. I read one of her others, the Happily Ever After playlist, earlier this year and enjoyed it. So this one sounds cute. I don't even know what it's about. She meets a ridiculously hot carpenter who's 10 years younger and the complete opposite of her. And her ultra-wealthy parents want her to carry on the family legacy of world-renowned surgeons, some more doctory things. She doesn't need glory or fame. She's fine with being an ER doctor. Every minute she spends with Daniel in the tight-knit town where he lives, she discovers what's really important. But can't really do a short-term fling if your parents don't want you to date a carpenter. Bringing Daniel into her world is impossible, and she can't give up the joy she found with him. So basically your cookie cutter romance of, you know, Romeo and Juliet type situation, but I'm sure it'll be cute. There's a goat in it, apparently. So, yeah, I like a good romance. I don't mind a cookie cutter. That's fine. I like that, knowing what to expect and having it basically do the same arc that most romances, you know, they meet, they fall in love, there's some sort of thing that happens that pulls them apart or makes them fight, then they decide to make up and they fall back in love and they get married and they're happy. Most of the time. That's how it works. And sometimes it's just nice to know how it's gonna go, but to have different characters in different scenarios and mix it up a little that way. So that is what I've read and what I'm reading and what I might read and all my stitching and quite a lot of talking. So I'm gonna bid you farewell. I hope that you enjoyed some nice stitching while you were sitting here listening to me. Let me know what you're reading this summer, if you have any recommendations or you're reading anything good. And I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. So thanks so much for watching.